In this video learning series, I'm going to be installing the Computer Lab plugin for AccuSQL 2017. More specifically, I'm going to install the Computer Lab software, open it the first time, then I'll confirm that I have the native connectivity client installed. That enables me to connect to a SQL Server database. From the folder where Computer Lab's installed, I'm going to run setDataPath.exe. That's where I can set my database connection parameters to the database I want to use with Computer Lab. I'll then log into Computer Lab as an administrator, and I'm going to change it to a local lab. I've created an AccuSQL called Computer Lab. I'm going to log into AccuSQL after that and show you some of the settings that are available in Computer Lab. They're actually set up in AccuSQL for use with the Computer Lab plugin. And then finally, I'll log in as a student to see the results of my setup. All right, so you may have gotten a USB key with an installer. If not, you may have just a Computer Lab dist folder here. Either way, I'm going to click here on Computer Lab SQL DIST for distribution, and then I have a setup.exe program. I'm going to run that to install my Computer Lab plugin for AccuSQL 2017. Click Next, read and accept the license agreement, click Next, and then I'll just say Next. I recommend the default install path. And now the installer will begin. All right, now the first time I open the Computer Lab, it's going to be asking for its database location. So I'll click Finish here, and it will pop open a window saying, where's my database? Well, I don't have the database set up and ready for it yet. It's a SQL Server database anyway, so I'll just press Cancel here. Okay, now I've got this Users Public Documents folder open for a reason. You may have seen when I clicked Cancel there, it created an AccuTrack folder here. Okay, and it will do that automatically. Now you'll also notice it has an I number underneath that folder. That I number is uniquely generated based on the install path of the software itself. So this is a 64-bit PC. I've accepted the default settings, so my Computer Lab will be installed in C Program Files x86, and it's called Comp Lab SQL 17. So on a 64-bit PC, if I accept the defaults, the I number will always be I51022 blah, 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 okay? So once I set my database connection parameters, well, I'm going to have this AccuTrack folder, this I number. These two files here, the dbparam files, store my database connection parameters. It's encrypted. But anyway, once I set that data path, then what I could do is push my AccuTrack folder out to all the other machines, C users public documents, and they would all automatically have the data path set for them. So it's kind of a way to automate that process. All right, anyway, so I've opened the Computer Lab the first time, and then I just press Cancel. So the next step is to go ahead and set the data path. Now, I talked about installing native connectivity client. I've already got that installed, but that enables me ultimately to connect to a SQL Server database. Now here I am in my install folder for Computer Lab SQL 17, and I have an SQL drivers folder. There's two of them here. The SQL in CLI.msi is for a 32-bit PC, and there's the x64. So I need to install whichever one that's going to let me connect to the database. Mine's a 64-bit PC. I would accept this. I can just accept the default install. I don't need the SDK. If I try to install it now, I know it's already installed, and it's asking me to modify. But yours would say install, just accept the defaults. Now back in my Computer Lab SQL 17 folder, here's my setDataPath.exe. That's how I can set my database connection to my SQL Server database. So I'll go ahead and run that. And I'm going to switch. It'll be in native mode by default, but I'm going to switch to SQL Server mode. And now I'm going to put in my database connection information. Now, if you already have a public account, you can use that, and that would be when you created your database in AccuSQL itself. Now I'll click the database drop-down here, and I'll see a list of database that is available to me with this AccuTrack account. Okay, and I'll pick this AccuSQL 13 testing database, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. So now my connection information is saved. Next, I'll log into the computer lab itself, and it's asking for my activation code. All right, so I'll put that in, click OK, and now computer lab will open. Now if I log into the computer lab as an administrator, that would be your AccuSQL administrator login, but if I enter those credentials, then I can see a few things. First, the database location that I just set before, so there's my AccuSQL 13 testing database, but also I have something called lab ID. Now probably you would have your computer lab computers set to a computer lab local lab. You certainly don't have to, but that would be a typical scenario. So I'm going to say, hey computer lab, you're a computer lab computer. I save that, and that means it's going to show the sign-in information for my computer lab. Now let's go look at that for a second. I'm going to open AccuSQL here. And remember, I've set my computer lab to the computer lab local lab. So let's go look at that in AccuSQL. Now the way that I like to do that is to actually physically set my lab to whatever lab I'm currently working on. So what I've done here is gone to System Lab IDs, and then I'm going to click View Modify Local Lab ID, and I'm going to pick my computer lab. Now I'll show you why that's important in a second here. Now I can look at my control panel, and these are the backend setup options for AccuSQL, but you can see down here in lab, it's set for computer lab. So I know now that the settings that I put in here, are related to my computer lab local lab. All right, so let's go here to the bottom where it says computer lab options. And then I have some options for how my computer lab operates. So if nothing happens for 10 minutes, automatically log the students off. So there's various setup options here I can use. The other thing I could look at is activity screen options. So this is, remember, what happens when a student signs in to my computer lab. Well, I don't have it doing much. I probably don't want it to pick a tutor, which is fine. So I have them picking an activity. I don't have them picking a tutor. So now let's go look at my categories and activities under sign-in setup, because I want to determine what the students are going to sign into for computer lab. So here I have a category called computer lab with academic use and personal use. All right, but if you look down here in available in these specific labs, what I'm doing is showing academic use and personal use as activities that are available in my computer lab. All right, so now I've got that set up. Let's go ahead and exit AccuSQL. And remember, I've set computer lab to that computer lab local lab, so I'll go ahead and run the computer lab plugin. And it says, welcome to the computer lab. Well, I know I'm set to that lab now, and I can have a different welcome messages, show buttons or not, so I can configure computer lab to operate the way I want it to. I log in with the student ID, and I even have it enabled to require a password. That's optional, but you could say just ID or ID and password combination. So I have both in this case. So now Chetan Basaz is signing in, and you can see I have computer lab, academic, and personal use. Well, those happen to be the only two activities that I have assigned to my computer lab local lab. I sign in, and remember, it's not asking me to pick a tutor. So now Chetan is signed in. He's using that computer. It's unlocked. Once he's done, he signs out, or can sign him out based on rules if he doesn't move the mouse for 10 minutes, for example. And now it's back to a locked state. He's signed out, and it's waiting for the next student to log in with an ID and password combination to unlock the computer. Here comes the next student. And now Dan is coming in for personal use. Now the first time you sign in, it will ask what you're coming in for. It won't do that again the second time. And now Dan is in, and we're logging his time. Now Page Lab Assistant, what that does is it enables me to send messages to whomever I've set up as a lab assistant. So it could be your front desk worker. I can enter a message, and then it will be delivered to the computer for whatever designated lab assistants we've set up. And I sign out and I'm done. If I want to exit computer lab, I can log in with admin credentials, and then I have the exit button.